My name is Paul Morgan Stetler, and I'd like to welcome you to Letters Aloud, where we take private letters from famous people, infamous people, and regular old people like you and me, and read them out loud in public. What we do is we pick a theme, today's being romantic love in honor of St. Valentine's Day, and we explore the complex and often contradictory facets of that theme by basically going through people's mail, which, as we all know, is a felony, so stick around at your own risk. Now, today's the second installment in what we hope will become an ongoing series here at ACT and other venues in the Northwest. Last year, we did the inaugural show in the Laley space in honor of Father's Day. We called it Dear Dad. It went very well. And today we're calling our show, With or Without You, Letters of Loving, Longing, and Leaving. And we've got some great letters for you. You're going to have a lot of fun. Samuel Clemens, whose pen name, of course, was Mark Twain, by all accounts had a tremendously successful marriage to his wife, Olivia. They wrote thousands of letters to each other over the course of their 30 years together, two of which we'll actually hear tonight. And when asked about the secret of their success, Clemens said, "Falling in love isn't a choice. Staying in love is." And actually near the end of his life, he wrote a letter to his sister where he wrote, "Love seems the swiftest, but it is the slowest of all growths. No man or woman really knows what perfect love is until they have been married a quarter of a century." So I have a quick quiz. Is there anybody in this room who has been married or in a committed relationship for 25 years or more? Oh, all right. Good for you guys. Okay. Perfect love. I hope you're enjoying that. I've only been married to my wife, Stephanie, for 7 years, so I have no idea what perfect love is. But staying in love with her is a choice that I gladly make every single day. And I have a little confession to make. I feel like I know you all so well. As I was gathering letters for this show, it occurred to me that I don't know if I have ever written my wife a love letter. I know. But before you boo me, I'd like you to ask yourself, when was the last time that you actually sat down and wrote a letter to someone that you love? Not a text, not an email, not a comment on Facebook or a tweet, but an honest-to-God letter. Ink on good cotton paper that your lover can hold and smell and keep safe and read again and again. Well, this week I finally wrote that letter. I set aside some time. I visited a stationery store. They still exist, and they're really cool. I bought some fancy paper, a decent pen. And then I went to a nice coffee shop, and I sat down. I put away all of my electronics, and I waited for inspiration to hit me. And I waited some more. And finally, after my second double decaf frappe, my heart found my hand, and the words began to flow. And it was awesome. And when I finished, I put the letter in an envelope. I addressed it to our house. I put a stamp on it, and I dropped it in an actual mailbox that was standing on an actual corner of an actual street. And then the United States Postal Service picked that letter up and delivered it to our actual house. And that was 5 days ago. And if Stephanie ever actually checks our mailbox, what she'll find is a love letter that will, to her mind anyway, rival anything that Sam Clemens wrote to his beloved, because it's from hers. And like Clemens, if that letter is ever read aloud in public, I'd better be dead. All this to say, our hope is that tonight's letters of loving, longing, or today, sorry, I said tonight because we did this show Friday at Edmond Center for the Arts on Valentine's Day, so this is our second performance. That today's letters of loving, longing, and leaving will inspire all of us to set aside some time and write our special someone a letter. Do you like me? Yes? No? Circle one. I think we can all have seen some version of this in our youth. Well, in 1990, a young sixth grader named Trevor wrote this very similar letter to the object of his affection, Kathy, and passed it to her during class.
Don't let anyone see this. Dear Kathy, I still like you and I still want you to go with me. I know Brad likes you. Please decide who you're going to go with. Think hard and let me know your decision. I'll be standing at the end of the hall and the beginning of the other hall. Meet me there as soon as school's out and you can tell me. Sincerely, Trevor.
Happily, Kathy said yes, and the two went steady for 2 whole weeks before she dumped him. However, 16 years later, they reunited, and in 2006, they got married. Unbeknownst to Trevor, Kathy had kept the letter all these years and had it read during their wedding ceremony. And now you know why he's the most popular recording player. This note, penned by a gentleman named William Waitman to his dearest Fanny, was found in a Temperance Society minute book kept between 1879 and 1890. As you can see by the image, it was written in what's called a rebus code, where symbols, numbers, and letters, not unlike modern-day text messages, were used in place of words.
My dearest Fanny, I am writing these few lines to tell you that I cannot live any longer without you. I worship you always. I think you are a beauty and the nicest girl I ever saw, and I adore you. Oh, exquisite Fanny, do not despise me for loving you so well. I shall be broken-hearted if you desert me. Can you meet me on Monday night when I will take you to the Star Music Hall? I hate that Bill Robinson who is hanging after you, and I intend to horsewhip him when I see him. I shall be delighted to hear from you at once. Do not let my suit be fruitless. Reply by next post to your loving William Waitman.
Here's a handwritten postcard from 1997 of a jilted woman begging to see her married lover 5 weeks after he called off the affair.
29 June 1997. Dear Handsome, I really need to discuss my situation with you. We have not had any contact for over 5 weeks. You leave on Saturday, and I leave for Madrid with a SecDef on Monday, returning the 14th of July. I am then heading out to Los Angeles for a few days. If I do not speak to you before I leave, when I return from LA, it will have been 2 months since we last spoke. Please do not do this to me. I feel disposable, used, and insignificant. I understand your hands are tied, but I want to talk to you and look at some options. I'm begging you from the bottom of my heart. I'm begging you one last time to please let me come see you, visit briefly, Tuesday evening. I will call Betty Tuesday afternoon to see if it is okay. M.
M, in this case, was Monica Lewinsky. And Handsome was our 42nd President of the United States, Bill Clinton.
June 25th, 1745. My dear friend, I know of no medicine fit to diminish the violent natural inclinations you mention, and if I did, I think I should not communicate it to you. Marriage is the proper remedy. It is the most natural state of man, and therefore the state in which you are most likely to find solid happiness. Your reasons against entering into it at present appear to me not well-founded. The circumstantial advantages you have in view by postponing it are not only uncertain, but they are small in comparison with that of the thing itself, the being married and settled. But if you will not take this counsel and persist in thinking a commerce with the sex inevitable, then I repeat my former advice, that in all your amours you should prefer old women to young ones. You call this a paradox and demand my reasons. They are these. 1.
Because as they have more knowledge of the world, and their minds are better stored with observations, their conversation is more improving and more lastingly agreeable.
2.
Because when a woman ceases to be handsome, she studies to be good. They learn to do 1,000 services, small and great, and are the most tender and useful of all friends when you are sick. Thus, they continue amiable, and hence there is hardly such a thing to be found as an old woman who is not also a good woman.
3.
Because there is no hazard of children, which irregularly produced may be attended with much inconvenience.
4.
Because through more experience, they are more prudent and discreet in conducting an intrigue to prevent suspicion. The commerce with them is therefore safer with regard to your reputation, and with regard to theirs, if the affair should happen to be known, considerate people might be rather inclined to excuse an old woman who would kindly take care of a young man, form his manners by her good counsels, and prevent his ruining his health and fortune among mercenary prostitutes.
5.
Because in every animal that walks upright, the deficiency of the fluids that fill the muscles appear first in the highest part. The face first grows lank and wrinkled, then the neck, then the breast and arms, the lower parts continuing to the last as plump as ever. So that covering all above with a basket, and regarding only what is below the girdle, it is impossible of 2 women to know an old from a young one. And as in the dark all cats are gray, the pleasure of corporal enjoyment with an old woman is at least equal and frequently superior.
6.
Because the sin is less. The debauching a virgin may be her ruin and make her life unhappy.
7.
Because the compunction is less. The having made a young girl miserable may give you frequent bitter reflections, none of which can attend the making an old woman happy.
8.
They are so grateful.
Thus much for my paradox. But still, I advise you to marry directly, being sincerely your affectionate friend, B. Franklin.
Now, it's no secret that girls mature sooner than boys. And if you do not believe that's true, check out these next 2 letters.
Dear Aaron, you are like sunshine in the rain. Your smile is better than 100 million sparkly trampolines. So, it is with deep regret that I must inform you that I think we should cut our relationship short.
Dear Janet, I think we should break up. I would tell you why, but I am having a tough time describing my feelings, so I drew a picture of me riding a giraffe instead. Sorry.
Sally Berger, if you took the number of subatomic particles in the universe and multiplied that number times itself that many times, and then added the total number of microseconds since the beginning of time times itself, and then added 803, you would still only have the tiniest fraction of a billionth percent of the amount of love I have for you. Love, your candle partner, the romantic Mr. Carlin, your eternal flame.
Now, here's a somewhat similar letter from our good friend Sam Clemens to his dear wife Olivia 6 years into their marriage. It was written on the occasion of her 30th birthday.
Hartford, November 27, 1875. Livy, darling, 6 years have gone by since I made my first great success in life and won you. And 30 years have passed since Providence made preparation for that happy success by sending you into the world. Every day we live together adds to the security of my confidence that we can never any more wish to be separated than that we can ever imagine a regret that we were ever joined. You are dearer to me today, my child, than you were upon the last anniversary of this birthday. You were dearer then than you were a year before. You have grown more and more dear from the first of those anniversaries, and I do not doubt that this precious progression will continue on to the end. Let us look forward to the coming anniversaries, with their age and their gray hairs, without fear and without depression, trusting and believing that the love we bear each other will be sufficient to make them blessed. So, with abounding affection for you and our babies, I hail this day that brings you matronly grace and dignity of 3 decades. Always yours, SLC.
And that's our show. And we want to leave you with one final thought from our good friend Sam Clemens. In a letter that he wrote to a friend in 1886, he stated, "There isn't time, so brief is life, for bickerings, apologies, heartburnings, callings to account. There is only time for loving, and but an instant, so to speak, for that." Thanks, everybody.